Welcome to What in the World with Paul Seaburn. And it's a Tuesday afternoon. And yes, we are still on the hunt for Bigfoot. You know, that big, hairy guy. Oh, and Paul actually is wearing a shirt that says Bigfoot. We want you to join us on YouTube as we continue our search and count down to June 11th. On June 11th, we will be going to the Mahoning Valley Scrappers baseball game. And on that night, the Scrappers will be called the Grassmen for Bigfoot. Who else? We want you to join us in Niles, Ohio on that night where Bigfoot might make an appearance. Can you imagine? Bigfoot making his appearance, and maybe he won't be blurry. We want to give out a big thank you to our two new sponsors, the Beer and Belly Deli Grill in Northfield, Ohio, and they have a Bigfoot that is standing right outside near their parking lot. You can go talk to it, and it will make the Bigfoot sound. And our second sponsor is Bigfoot Landscaping in Oakwood Village. And you're wearing a T-shirt from Bigfoot Landscaping, aren't you, Paul?
Yes, I am. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was a lot of fun.
We all got T-shirts. I'm not wearing mine
Oh, yeah.
because I went to a meeting today, so I didn't think that'd be appropriate. Oh, and the Bigfoot
I
mug,
got my
which
Bigfoot. Somehow it's
is
gonna. Oh, it's
dying in the picture.
there. We go. There we. I kind
There
of
we
see it
go.
there. Bigfoot water mug.
So everybody, just join us on Facebook for a couple reasons, Facebook and YouTube, because you'll see the pictures, you'll see the stories that Paul puts together, and you can be a follower. But this is what he's going to be yakking about today. I'm excited. We're going to do updates on the baseball game, June 11th, the latest on the Grassmen's baseball game. He's going to talk about an unusual picnic food idea. Wow, food. We love talking about food. He's going to talk about a strange but cheap way to save money on gas, walking, the comeback of a classic schoolyard game, a sad ending for a sad brew, a Bigfoot-approved tip for sore feet. Now, I need that because since I've lost weight, all my shoes are too big, so my feet hurt. Plus, we're going to have some odd news, world records, trivia, strange sports, and of course, Bluff the co-host. So, with that being said, we are not live. We are recording for streaming today, and it's time now for Paul Seaburn.
Hey, wow! Thank you so much, Karen, for that great introduction. That was quite a lot of information you passed on there to our listeners. So I'll try to recap it and get right into the story. Again, I'm Paul Seaburn, the host of What in the World, everybody's favorite weird news podcast. Real news, sometimes weird, always funny. That's our motto. We're coming to you on some platform. If you're listening to the audio only, thank you so much for doing that. And as Karen says, we recommend everybody check us out on YouTube so that you can take a look at all the great photos that we have accompanying really pretty much all of the stories. So that's the best way to do it. And also then you can follow us, and that helps us track how many people we have following us. I guess that must be what they
Absolutely.
call it, following. Yeah.
And it's
The
free. It's free.
It's
When you
free.
go to,
Yes. Oh,
yeah,
everything's free. That's
YouTube is
right.
free.
Yep. So thank you so much for doing that wherever you come from. We're on, Karen and I are on Facebook, so check us out there. Karen's website is newclevelandradio.net. Check us out there. There's links to our podcast, all the other great podcasts Karen produces. Also to Yes I Can Coaching with Karen, her wonderful coaching service. Also to Cleveland 13 News, our partner. A great news source, lots of local news there. Plus, they are hosting our podcast on their site. So check out all that information and for updates on our Bigfoot hunt and all that good stuff. Let's see what else. I have a website, paulseaburn.com. You can get more information there about me. My new book, What Would You Say to a Naked Space Alien? Another one of our sponsors. let me take a breath here and introduce. So that's Karen Hale, our producer, media mogul at newclevelandradio.net and co-host, all that great stuff. Find out more about that at newclevelandradio.net. The other voice you heard occasionally in your ear, you'll be hearing a lot more from him as the show goes on, is our co-host, our host of What in the World of Sports, my old buddy, my college friend, my fraternity brother, John Dinalo. Hey, John, how you doing?
Oh, hi, Paul, Karen, and audience. Doing well. Day after the Cavaliers, unfortunately, were ushered out of the playoffs, and I'm featuring the Cleveland Guardians gear today because they're playing some great baseball. And
Yeah,
if you haven't made it down to Progressive Field, if you're in the Cleveland area, or if you're visiting Cleveland, I would highly suggest going to that wonderful ballpark and taking in a game or two with the Guardians. They're really playing terrific baseball.
let's keep it. I
Absolutely.
hope they keep it up. Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, let's get right to it then. Karen introduced some of our stories. We got a few more than that. Let's see. For those of you watching us on YouTube, make sure I've got my photos lined up here. I think that. There we go. Okay. Um, let's see. There's our logo. There's a copy of my book, What Would You Say to a Naked Space Alien, available on Amazon. You can find it there. Also, a link, as I mentioned, at my website, paulseaburn.com. Lots of fun stories about alien encounters that I've encountered over the years working for Mysterious Universe. Nothing dirty. It's all fun. Very, very enjoyable book. So please help a poor guy out there and check out the book. What
Yeah,
else?
please do. Please do. Paul
Yeah.
needs the support.
I need all the us retired guys. We need all the help we can get. Let's see what else
Absolutely.
I have here. Oh, there's so we're going to talk about the Bigfoot hunt. All three of us, John, Karen, and myself, went hunting for Bigfoot this past week in Northeast Ohio. There's an incredible artificially intelligent recreation of what we hoped that we looked like. The We did visit the Beer and Belly Sports Grill in Northfield, Ohio. I don't know if I. Oh yeah, there's a picture of what did they call him? But
Bumbles.
Bumble.
Bumbles.
that's it. That's it. He's stand now. He wasn't so close to the building when we went to see him. He was farther out. I guess I don't know if he was passing gas and they don't want him by the door
He
anymore.
makes a lot of noise.
But what a cool thing to have in front of your restaurant. So great, great, really a cool looking albino Bigfoot. He looks more like abominable snowman or a yeti, but they're all related. So and great food. I happened to stop there on Saturday after we had finished doing our taping, and great food. I had a great burger. My wife she had something with chicken in it. I forget what it was, but we left satisfied. So
Very good.
yeah, there we go. Then we also, as I mentioned, we visited Bigfoot Landscaping over in what city did you say that was in?
Oakwood Village.
Oakwood Village. I knew it began with an O. Off of 271 at the Broadway Forbes exit. Really great guys there. Chris is the manager. Besides all the Bigfoot stuff, the T-shirts, the sweatshirts, hat, mugs, you name it, they got all kind of great Bigfoot stuff if you want to stock up on your Bigfoot wardrobe. Plus, if you're in the landscaping business, they have equipment for the biggest trucks. I mean, the biggest snow plows and seed scattering stuff I've ever seen. Plus, they do commercial and residential landscaping as well. So John was with us. There's John over there with his buddy Bigfoot. I can't get over this picture, John, with the Bigfoot's hand it looks like you could crush your head with one hand.
Well, he is an imposing creature. He really
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what his feet look like if his hands are this big.
Uh,
Also, Karen mentioned the Mahoning Valley Scrappers, minor league baseball team, on June 11th will be changing their name to the Grassmen. And as our longtime listeners know and Bigfoot followers, the Grassman is the name that the Native Americans gave to the Bigfoot that resides in Ohio. So great salute to Northeast Ohio, to the fact that this spring we had 8 Bigfoot sightings in 10 days. on a path that led almost right up to the stadium where the Mahoning Valley Scrappers play. I was at a picnic this weekend. I was talking about the game, and I was surprised at how many people knew who the Mahoning Valley Scrappers were. So you guys have a lot of fans. I hope you get a lot more. We will be there on June 11th, and we'll be talking about it some more as in the build up to the game. Okay, so we just had Memorial Day, as I mentioned, and so that means picnic season is here. Now I've got some picnic food tips for you, courtesy of What in the World. But you never know what you're going to get from What in the World. We love giving you food information. Um, this is too late for your Memorial Day picnic, but it's early enough for 4th of July and Labor Day and all the other picnics you have. So if you're looking for an alternative to regular baked beans, and I like regular baked beans. I eat baked beans right out of the can. I don't know, John, do you? It reminds me of it when we were in college and we didn't even have a hot plate. We just eat stuff.
No, you know what? I try to at least have them warmed up, but I do like baked beans. Yes.
Yeah. Well, wait till you see these. So if you're a fan of baked beans, Bush's, which is a big brand, I don't know if they're nationwide. I assume that they are, but they're big in the Northeast Ohio area. They've come out with 3 new flavors, special edition, limited time only. Wait till you get these flavors. They are, let's see, there we go. So they are dill pickle flavored baked beans, apple pie flavored baked beans, and rocket pop flavored
I'm
big beans.
nauseous.
Yeah.
I think of the 3 for what it's worth. I think that the dill pickle might be worth trying, but I would be very hesitant to try the apple pie and definitely the rocket pop, not the rocket pop. Boy, it's too much of a mixed signal for me. That's what I think, folks.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, John and Karen, I agree. In fact, if the Bush people are listening, the first thing I would say is, I don't need a rocket pop to make rocket pops after eating baked beans.
Good one. Good one.
In fact, what they say on the website, they said that the rocket pop baked beans are bursting with notes of cherry, lime, and blue raspberry. That's for the red, white, and blue. And I think, I don't need cherry, lime, and raspberry in my beans to
No,
boost,
no.
to burst with notes either. So, but I agree with you, John. The dill pickle, I have done that. I've mixed relish, I've mixed sweet pickles, dill pickles. It doesn't matter, I mix anything in with baked beans. They taste good with whatever you mix, except apple pie.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean the whole idea of having the sweets with the baked beans just doesn't cut it for me. I'm sorry.
No, I think if you look in your refrigerator and you see you've got a pot of leftover baked beans and you've got a leftover apple pie, and you're thinking, boy, I bet those would taste good together. It's time for your medication.
Yes.
I agree, Paul. I agree.
Close the door, step away, and go sit down for a little while and until that urge passes. But yeah, dill pickle sounds good. I like that. Here's what my theory. My theory is that their marketing people or their R&D people were told that they had to come up with some new flavors for the season. So they came up with a couple, but they, the rule is you have to fill up the page. So they're scrambling. They don't know what else to do. The popsicles and baked beans. Yeah, that's good. How many more do we need? One more. Okay. Apple pie and baked beans. Yeah, put that on the bottom. Thinking, and I've been in that position before, thinking no one's ever going to read all the way down to the bottom of the page. They'll find something in the first half and we'll be done. We'll be safe. But no, obviously, somebody went all the way down to the bottom of the page and said apple pie and baked beans. That's it. My other theory is that this probably happened on Take Your Kids to Work Day. And, one of the kids was looking over Dad's shoulder as he's reading these ideas. And the kids said, oh, yeah, rocket pops. I love rocket pops. Put those in baked beans. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't explain it. They are, I'm not sure. I haven't seen them in the store yet. They do have them on their website. So if you're really interested, Google their Google Bush's baked beans, and they'll sell you some.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, we don't like to talk about politics or business or religion or all the other controversial things on What in the World. But I'm going to dabble a little bit in the price of gasoline. Everybody's price of gasoline is going up and going up and going up. I want to give you some tips on how to save money on transportation with the price of gas being so high. So, and this is for people, if you're the age where you can still remember how to ride a bike, but you also remember how much it hurt when you fell off, and you think, if I fall off this time, I'm going to be in the hospital for a week,
Yeah.
at least. not like not like when we were kids and you fell off, you broke your arm, you got a plaster cast that all your friends signed, and you walked around whacking kids in the back.
Back in the
You
day,
remember
Paul.
that,
Back in the
John?
day.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
So I can't help you with that. But here's some good news if you're worried about your electric bill too. Okay. So a kid on YouTube who goes by the name Flamethrower, which is already a scary thing, he connected, get a load of this, a hamster wheel to a miniature energy harvesting system designed to capture tiny bursts of motion and convert them into electric power. So, the hamster runs all night. The the kid is one of these handy little kids that knows how to hook all that stuff up
Yeah.
together. And somehow he powered his cell phone and actually charged it up on his hamster running all night long.
Wow.
Wow.
How about that? The
Hey.
when we were in school, a science project meant you watched your dad build a volcano out of,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes, you did.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. This kid figured out how to use his hamster to power his cell phone. So by the end of the night, he raised the hamster raised enough money. I think I've got the picture of the phone here. Yeah, he generated enough energy to completely charge the cell phone. Uh, I'm amazed that the hamster with those little hands that they have could even hold that plug and plug it into the phone to get it done.
Yeah.
Maybe the kid did it. I don't know. Um, so this poor hamster runs all night long, charging up the kid's phone. Kid wakes up. He's all excited. He disconnects the phone. He goes off playing video games. Poor hamster's sitting there exhausted. So he took the shavings on the bottom of his cage. You can see the shavings over there. He spent all day moving them into the shape of three letters, WTF. Uh, Send a message, John, right? Send a message.
It's a matter of interpretation, Paul. Sure,
Yeah.
of course.
So that night, the kid made him do it again. So this time, hamsters are smarter than they look. He ran in the opposite direction, and when when the kid got up, all he had was he had a dead flashlight phone. That's basically it. Uh,
Huh.
I like that. I like that hamster. Now,
Yeah.
of course, the oil industry is already lobbying the pet industry to start neutering all the hamsters because they don't want any more hamsters. Because if this catches on, we're not going to need natural gas and all that to power the electric power plant. We'll just hook up thousands and thousands of hamsters to wheels and power the world that way.
Yeah, but
But that would be different.
PETA won't like that.
Who?
PETA,
PETA. Oh, PETA,
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
flatbread.
Yeah. The protection against
I
animal
want
cruelty.
flatbread like that. I'm all okay. Yeah, you're right. The people for the ethical treatment of gerbils and hamsters.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with that. I'll tell you what, though, I was thinking about this. I never had a hamster. When I was a kid, the most popular pet in our house was a turtle, which, I would have had to wait a couple of years for a turtle to charge up a phone. By that time, I moved out already. The So hamsters run. I was wondering why hamsters like to run. Everybody who has a hamster has a wheel in the cage. I think the cages come with a wheel. The hamster comes with a wheel. Turns out that it's in their DNA. They are genetically designed to run and run and run all night long. When they're in the wild, that's what they do. They're foragers, so they run through the forest looking for seeds and I don't know whatever else, the wood shavings and stuff like that. Believe it or not, one hamster can run from 5 to 9 miles in one night. Five to
Oh,
nine.
wow.
Isn't that wild, John? When was the
Yeah.
last
Well,
time you
that's
ran
hard to
5 miles?
believe, but yeah. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. The and the hamster wheel. It's a little trivia for you for your next trivia contest. The hamster wheel was invented in 1876, and it first appeared in a catalog from the Osborne Company. Uh, and it was for squirrels. It wasn't exactly people didn't have hamster pets, but they had squirrels. So they sold this wheel to put in a cage with a squirrel that did the same thing, ran all night long. If you lived in an apartment, they also sold a bigger wheel where your dog could run alongside the squirrel, so they could pretend they're chasing each other. The
Okay.
Yeah. Can you imagine being in an apartment with all that squeaking going on? I don't think so. Okay. Nobody likes going to the dentist, although I have to admit that I like going. I like going now because my dentist happens to be a fan of our podcast.
Oh, okay. All right.
So he does. He's a fan of UFOs and especially UFOs. He likes to tune in for UFO stories. So uh, the what I should do, since he's watching, I should put my face right up to the my camera so he can see my teeth and see if there's anything
Yeah.
Kill two birds with one stone, so to speak.
To kill, yeah, to kill two doctors with one stone. I'll hold up and some other body part. The
Oh boy.
So anyways, John, don't distract me here. The
Okay.
So they found a molar, an ancient molar in Siberia, a big giant tooth, and it's from Neanderthals, and they studied it, and this tooth, I think I have a picture of it here. Oh, there's a picture of a Neanderthal dentist, and a Neanderthal going to the dentist. So this molar, they determined that Neanderthal dentists used stone drills to drill into teeth to treat cavities 60,000 years ago. The Neanderthals were using drills before our human ancestors, the Homo sapiens, were using them.
Huh.
We pick on Neanderthals all the time, but they were a lot smarter than we give them credit for. Um, you
Well,
know,
that's amazing. Yeah.
isn't it? And then, some things never changed, John, because when the Neanderthal dentist was done, then he would give his patient a big handful of hay and he'd say, now go home and floss. So,
Oh, okay.
so the tooth was found underneath some like an animal skin pillow. So apparently the tooth fell out, and the Neanderthal, just like humans now, they were waiting for the Neanderthal fairy to come and leave them, I don't know, a rock.
Yeah.
what they had, what they had to give to the kids when they lose their teeth. So Homo sapiens, us, we didn't start going to the dentist until our ancestors noticed that the Neanderthals were smiling and all of the human women were going on dates with them instead of with the human guys. So they go to the dentist. My question, what did they use for painkillers? Any thoughts on that, John?
No, candidly, I've not given it much thought, Paul.
Probably just clubbed you over the head.
There you go, Karen. That's it, right? That was the first thing that came to my mind was they bopped them over the head and knocked them out.
Yep.
So I looked it up, and believe it or not, neither Neanderthals nor humans, the cave people of either one of the species, bopped people over the head with clubs. We made that up. Yeah. Well, come on, Karen. Most of the cartoons that we saw were not guys bopping each other over the head so they could do dentistry. It was a male bopping a female over the head and then pulling him by the hair back into the cave.
Right.
That is a myth, according to anthropologists and all the other people that study that stuff. That's a myth. That never happened. Well, maybe it happened once. but it wasn't the kind of thing that they did all the time. So, from what I understand, Neanderthal dentists knocked people out the same way dentists do today. They showed them their bill.
Oh, that'll do it.
And there we go. That's a horn-worthy one right there.
Oh, sure.
Okay, from our file, the Everything Comes Back Eventually file, comes this story right here. So the hacky sack. John and Karen, do you remember the hacky sack?
I do.
I
your
really
sons
don't.
Probably played. At least one of them played with the hacky sack, I would think. Yeah. John?
I really don't know. I've heard of it and seen it.
You're going to learn something here.
I've never participated in it.
So this was a thing for Generation Z. So, 20, 30 years ago, this was 20 years ago, I think would be about the right time. It was a sport. Here's a picture of some kids doing it. You take a little bag, like a little tiny bean bag, and you kick it like soccer players kick it with your foot. So I don't think you're allowed to use your hand like in soccer. And you basically kick it and bounce it, and then you kick it to another player, and they have to catch it with their foot, and they bounce it, and then you kick it to somebody else until you drop it, and then you start all over again.
Yep.
So this is a sport for people who haven't had knee surgery yet.
Yep.
So believe it or not, this is coming back. It's coming back. Popular with both adults who played it and now with kids, again, a new generation. Teachers and parents say that they're happy to see kids doing something other than looking at their phone, except what they found out was there's an awful lot of kids looking at their phone anyways to watch videos on how to hacky sack. So once they get past that. So if you've never seen it, what this reminded me of, John and Karen and everybody out there, and of a certain age, it reminded me of Monty Python and the Ministry of Silly Walks.
I'm very familiar with the Ministry of Silly Walks. It's hysterical.
I thought you would, John. Yeah. One of the most famous sketches, they may have done more than one, I don't know, that Python ever did. And it's basically just what you can imagine. It was people walking silly. And we laughed our full heads off. So, I'm thinking let's see what that looks like again there. This is like, I'll tell you my best description of it. This is like people doing the hokey pokey. Right, Karen?
Yeah, it looks like it.
With a little bit of exercise, a sport. They turned the hokey pokey into a sport. That's what they did. But in hacky sack, this is another one for the trivia buffs out there. Hacky sack is a brand name. They're actually called foot sacks, is the generic term. So hacky sack is like Kleenex. In fact, that's what hacky sack is, the Kleenex of foot bags. Yeah, I didn't realize that. It was really popular among pro basketball players. Apparently back at that time, the pro basketball players liked to hacky sack. Now, I can't see Shaquille O'Neal trying to kick one of those little things. Get stuck between his toes, John.
Oh, that's absolutely.
Yeah, maybe a beanbag chair. Hacky sacking, beanbag sacking, it would be for Shaq. So the most popular move among hacky sackers, and I had to look this up because I was not a hacky sacker, was the circle kick. Circle kick, that was the most popular move. Also, one of the most popular moves in the Joy of Sex, but that was a completely different. So now they're it's coming back. It's coming back. So I'm thinking about it. I can hear my father. Thank God he doesn't see stuff like this. He says, I can just hear him say, you kick a sack because you saw it on a video. That's basically where these kids are learning it. He said, you kick this sack because you saw it on a video. He says, I'll kick you out of the sack this morning, and then I'll show you a video on how to mow the lawn. And that's what you're going to do all day. And, and that's pretty much what would happen. No more, none of this hacky sack stuff. So anyways, I know my father's up in heaven nodding his head at that one. Okay, Dad. So this, for those of you who are traveling this summer, this is for you. Southwest Airlines, and I'm sure the other airlines will be following suit here. Southwest Airlines just announced that passengers cannot bring human-sized or animal-sized robots on the plane with them, even if they buy a seat for them. Now, I didn't know this was a thing. Apparently, it is. People are bringing robots onto the plane. They said you can check them in baggage, but you can't buy a seat and let them sit next to you. You can't try and shove them into the overhead compartment. You're not allowed to bring robots into the.
Why would you want to?
There you go.
That's very logical, Karen. Yeah, very logical.
Yeah, this happened to me once. I was on a plane, and the guy who was on the other side of the middle seat brought his robot. The robot was in the middle seat, and the worst part, there was turbulence, and that damn robot, he didn't care. He said, "Bring it on, come on, more." Like he's a crash test dummy.
Whoa.
So people were buying seats for their robots, but the last straw, they said, was a guy who wanted to be the first to join the Mile High Club with his robot, and they said, "No."
Oh boy.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, what kind of extras you bought on your robot? You can't do that on our airplane. One good thing, though, at least the robots won't be bothering you to go to the bathroom, or they won't be opening up their tuna fish sandwich that they bought on the way in.
That's true.
Plane. Yeah. And plus, the robot probably knows how to use that stupid tracking map that they have built into the back of the seats now for people that don't want to watch a movie and didn't bring something to read. I tried to figure that out last time I was on an airplane, and I gave up. So maybe the robot could do that. However, technically, you should put your robot into airplane mode, just like you do your phone when you're on an airplane. What does that mean? Does airplane mode make the robot stupid again? Like it does to your phone. You can't do anything on it. You can't connect to the internet.
Well, I don't know, Paul. It's a lot of new ground we're covering here today. A lot of new ground.
Yeah. And then when the flight attendant comes around, what does she ask the robot? Coffee, orange juice, or WD-40?
Yeah.
So I made it through all my stuff there. I never answered your question, Karen, because I don't know. The article did not say why people were bringing robots onto the plane, other than they might be robotic engineers and they're taking them to a trade show, or they're want to join the Mile High Club. I don't know. I don't. Whatever it is, you're not allowed to do it anymore. It's a fire hazard. Yeah. All right. Okay. Trivia time, John. What was the beer that made Milwaukee famous?
Oh.
Boy, I was afraid you froze up there.
No, I did freeze up on that because I'm going to say Miller.
Miller. Oh, not even close.
Isn't
not
it Pabst Blue Ribbon?
Which one?
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Karen is much closer. The answer is Schlitz, the beer that made Milwaukee.
Oh, okay, famous. Right, okay. Wow.
Karen, you're close because Schlitz is now owned by Pabst.
Okay.
Originally, they were competitors. We'll talk about that in a
second. Okay.
But sad news, John. Were you a Schlitz fan? Did you ever do?
Yeah, I think early in college days. Okay, it seems to be around that time frame. My first freshman or maybe sophomore year of college. Schlitz was kind of popular at that time.
Before you could afford Strohs, you drank Schlitz.
Well, yeah. Hey, wasn't it that actor Robert Conrad or was it William Conrad? I get they're two distinct actors, right? But didn't one have like a marketing campaign where he was they actually had to take the ad down because it was offensive to people. I don't know if you recall that or not. Yeah.
No, I don't remember that. I don't remember that, but I do have some more trivia for you. So and for everybody else listening out there, if you remember the William Conrad commercial, send all your messages to newclevelandradio.net, care of John Dinalo, and he'll be sure to not answer it. So Pabst bought probably 30 years ago, I guess they bought Schlitz and saved the company from bankruptcy once. Now they've finally given up on the beer that made Milwaukee famous. 1858, that's when it started really became the beer that made Milwaukee famous. It will be replaced by a new beer that internally Pabst is calling the beer that's going to make Pabst some money for a change. Because I guess just it wasn't doing too good. So some people were saying that Schlitz was the original craft beer because it tasted like yarn. Our
Yeah.
buddy Brian down in West Virginia liked that one, John. So the story, so Schlitz has been around for a long time. Joseph Schlitz came to the United States. I'm going to cover that in a second here. So there's a rumor, an urban legend that during the Chicago fire, that's where the original plant was. During the Chicago fire, Schlitz donated beer to pour onto the fire to help put the fire out. That is not true. However, there were a lot of taverns that said when their restroom caught on fire, they sent a bunch of their beer drinkers in there to help put out the fire in the restroom.
Oh boy.
So company was founded by a guy by the name of August Krug. So this is interesting. August Krug, 1849, he hired this guy named Joseph Schlitz as his bookkeeper. So not that he didn't know anything about beer, he was a bookkeeper. And when Krug passed away, Schlitz took over the company and changed it. Not only did he change the name to the Joseph A. Schlitz Company, he married the wife of his late boss. So
Oh wow.
he married the widow. Yeah, make sure he's going to get all the money after that. You've heard of craft brewers. Schlitz was a crafty brewer. So So during Prohibition, here's a trivia question for you. We were talking about this the other day. What did all these breweries do during Prohibition? Well, what Schlitz did, they made candy. There was actually Schlitz candy for sale, which most people thought was obviously a cover. They were making beer in the basement and selling it out the back door, which is what most breweries did until they got caught, which is dangerous to do in Chicago, by the way. But chocolate, Schlitz, a beer company making chocolate, that puts the bar in Mr. Goodbar.
Oh, can you get the
you
horn
say?
on that one, please? We need the horn on that one.
Wait a minute, I got one more. There was, there was only one Musketeer, but after you ate a Schlitz candy bar, you saw 3 of them. How's that?
Okay.
Oh boy.
So while they were, they were the beer that made Milwaukee famous, but they wanted to stay famous. So they actually tried other flavors way back before, all this craft beer stuff happened and all these flavored beers. This is my favorite. The Schlitz Brewing Company in 1936 came out with this Schlitz Sunshine Vitamin D beer.
Wow.
Oh
How
my
about
gosh.
that? Yeah. I love the can, but the vitamin D beer, it was fortified with vitamin D. It was supposed to be people were on health crazes in the 1930s, supposed to give you, besides a buzz, vitamins. You didn't have to take your one a day they didn't have Flintstones back then.
Wow.
Yeah. They used a process that increased the beer's vitamin D content using ultraviolet light. So they beamed ultraviolet light at the beer to add the vitamin D. So John, can you think of some other slogans that Schlitz used over the years that you might remember?
Oh boy, I'm trying to go back on that.
I'll
Like I
give
said
you
again,
two of
that
them.
no,
I'll give
I
you
was
2 of them. You'll
go
remember
ahead.
as soon as I say it. How about
Sure.
this? When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer.
Yep.
I remember that now that you said that. Yes.
And
Yes.
then go for the gusto. Schlitz, go for the gusto. That was,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So you probably need something to eat with your Schlitz, especially if you got the vitamin D stuff. So we got some food to eat with your Schlitz, especially if you're in Japan. Popular new food item at 7-Eleven stores in Japan is and we talked about these things before. It's a pink sandwich made on pink bread. It's made with chocolate chips and whipped cream on pink bread. 7-Eleven says it's not responsible for what happens when you open up your lunchbox at the construction site and take out a pink sandwich with whipped cream in it. Uh, and your buddies see it. That's not their problem. That's your problem.
It's almost like eating a Twinkie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. A Twinkie with I
Yeah.
can't. In Cleveland, you eat a pink sandwich in Cleveland, and people will think that you're eating a sandwich made with two big, thick slices of bologna instead of bread. So, unlike the Wonder Bread, which has builds strong bodies 12 ways, this kind of sandwich only builds a strong body one way, and that's if you spit it out and go get some whole wheat bread and eat that instead.
Oh.
Then you'll have a strong body. If that's not enough, besides the chocolate chips and the whipped cream, they sprinkle chocolate shavings all along the edge, which you can see in this picture here. So it is just covered with chocolate. All you can see.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, chocolate and pink bread. If I see pink bread, whipped cream, and chocolate chips on my plate, it means my Schlitz is cut. I've had, I'm definitely hallucinating.
That's not a good omen, Paul.
No, John. No, so when you were kids, when you opened up your bag, your brown paper bag, whatever was in there, you ate it, right? You either ate it or you traded it. There were
or traded it, right? Okay.
Yeah. And you had to be careful when you traded it, because when you went home and your mom asked you how was the bologna and peanut butter sandwich, you had to say yes, it was good, no matter.
Of course you did. Yes.
Whether you ate it or traded it or not. You bring this pink bread and chocolate chip, nobody's going to trade with you, not even the weird kid. You bring this. If you bring this when we went to school, the next thing that would happen is you would be stuffed inside your locker, and the pink sandwich would be stuffed up your nose. That's pretty much what would happen. And in spite of that, we still grew up normal, right?
Oh, well, something like that.
Something like that. Okay, so Karen, talking about her sore feet. This also comes from Japan, so take this with a grain of salt. It also comes from Bigfoot. That's the best part of this news thing here. The hot new footwear in Japan is called the bare feet of a gorilla. Bare feet of a gorilla. Now, I've been to a lot of zoos. I don't look at the feet of the gorilla. I'm usually looking at something else, like his ugly face looking back at me like he wants to grab me through the glass with those giant arms. If I think Bigfoot, I think the gorilla's feet must hurt. That's the reason why they walk on their knuckles, to take some relief off of their feet. But so what these are, here's a picture of them, Karen. These are acupressure sandals made from ping pong ball sized soft plastic balls that allegedly provide a pleasant stimulation of the soles of your feet when you walk in them. I don't know. Humans who test them say they actually do work. Gorillas who test them say they taste terrible.
They don't look comfortable at all.
Doesn't look like it would be. No, it does not look like it would be. But it's the acupressure thing, I guess, that relieves your pain.
Okay.
They said it's better than acupuncture sandals. Basically golf shoes turned inside out. That's pretty much your acupuncture soft shoe. So you can make sure you get the authentic bare feet of a gorilla sandal, because the cheap ones are not as well made, and when you walk, it sounds like you're stepping on bubble wrap. You're popping all the until they're all popped out.
Yep.
So here's one with a lovely lady with her feet on inside the sandal, so that they don't look any more comfortable, do they?
No.
No, not really.
No. Bare feet of a gorilla. I made my own, by the way. So once I saw that, I wanted to try it out. I used marshmallows.
Ooh, now
How
that's
did
Yeah,
that work? How
yeah.
did that turn out, Paul?
John, it worked so well. My feet felt so good. I made s'mores.
Oh, where's the
Oh,
horn for that? Please.
They're also, Karen, now they're also supposed to make your legs look slimmer.
oh,
So, yeah, most people think it makes you look like you stepped in something really bad or you got some really weird toe fungus on your toes.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, and they're supposed to make your feet feel good. Um, I thought the only way my feet would feel good after wearing something like this all day long is if I soaked them in a tub full of Schlitz.
Probably.
Which, you know, we should talk to the Pabst people because maybe they could bring back Schlitz as a foot soak instead of beer.
Ooh,
Yeah, sell it for more in the drugstores.
yeah,
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 the foot soak that made Milwaukee famous.
yep.
Call me, Schlitz people, Pabst people, call me. So I was thinking about this. We should have had these when we were looking for Bigfoot. Uh, if Bigfoot saw footprints with these balls in them, like this lady would have made, uh, he would have come out to see what kind of creature that could be,
Yeah,
and we would have
absolutely.
definitely seen Bigfoot. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's that was my Bigfoot connection there. We need to make sandals like these for Bigfoot and put them out in the woods with a handwritten note that Bigfoot, these will make your feet feel better. Uh,
ooh. And then we
yeah,
could follow the footprints.
then we follow the footprint. That's right. Now, to help follow the footprints, Karen, we need to make these like we used to make sandals in the old hippie day. Back, even before when we were in college, John, people used to make homemade sandals out of tires.
Yep.
Now, I remember my
Oh,
tires,
yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
they look like tires. They look like tires. So that's what we need to do. We need to get some truck tires because this is for Bigfoot. And need to make, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he
make
would
some
need
of these.
that. He would need that for sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
I didn't even notice this when I found this sandal here online made out of a tire track. That's from the Detroit Tigers.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, see the
Yes.
Yeah,
Tigers logo there. Yeah.
yeah. They obviously they beat us to the punch there.
Yeah.
They're selling tire track sandals at the Detroit Tigers game.
Yep.
Didn't help them beat the Guardians, did it?
No, no, it did
No, it
not.
didn't. All right. On that note, I am finished with my segment of what in the world. That means it's time for John Donalo and what in the world of sport. So every week, I mentioned this. John and I go back to probably the first or second days of college. We met. We became fraternity brothers. We've been friends ever since. John knows more about sports and trivia than anybody else I know, so he's the perfect guy to host this segment. I challenge him every week. John, find us a sport that lives up to the motto of the segment. Uh, Real sport, sometimes weird, always funny. And regular listeners will vouch for this. John comes up with a good one every week. He's got a great one for us this week. John, tell us about it.
Okay, Paul, I will. Thanks for the introduction. So, our sport this week combines food, fitness, and unfortunately, potential drowning.
Oh,
The sport is giant pumpkin kayaking. You heard that correctly. Giant pumpkin kayaking. Let me explain. Giant pumpkin kayaking is quite simply the sport of kayaking inside of a giant hollowed out pumpkin. The food is actually the giant Atlantic pumpkins, which can weigh up to, believe it or not, 13,000 pounds.
wow.
Now, the fitness is rowing a pumpkin kayak across a lake or a river, and the potential drowning, well, you can figure that one out yourself. Now, the most famous race of these giant pumpkin races was the Windsor Pumpkin Regatta that was held on Lake Passaquid in Windsor, Nova Scotia every October.
Hmm.
The race was founded in 1999 by Danny Dell, who is the son of Howard Dell, the breeder of the Atlantic giant pumpkin.
Wow.
Now, giant pumpkins were cut open at the top, seeds and pulp were cleaned out, and participants jumped in with kayak paddles. The pumpkins don't sink, but they are awkward and wobbly to paddle down the half-mile long course.
Wow.
That did not stop Leo Swinimer of New Ross, Nova Scotia, who won 6 of the first 10 races, including one at the age of 73.
Jeez.
So the race then grew in popularity, and there were over 10,000 spectators and 60 entries in the 2008 race. And that was helped back in 2005 when Martha Stewart announced her intention to participate in the race. Unfortunately, she couldn't get out of jail in time, and it was Pumpkin Racing's loss. However, other celebrities have participated, including a long-term member of parliament there. His name is Scott Brisson.
Wow.
Now, the last Windsor Pumpkin Regatta was held in 2019. The 2020 and 2021 regattas were canceled due to the COVID pandemic. Then in 2002, the government ordered tidal gates installed under Highway 101, the 101 Causeway, to be operated in such a way to better accommodate fish passage. This lowered the water level in the lake, and the event was then eventually canceled indefinitely.
Oh,
Luckily though, it has been replaced by several other pumpkin regattas, including one at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, has been held since 2005, and one on Lake Champlain in Colchester, Vermont. There are also people who paddle their pumpkins for fun, like Gary Christensen, who in 2024 paddled his giant pumpkin 46 miles down the
wow.
Columbia River in British Columbia to set the Guinness World Record for longest journey in a pumpkin boat. Now, giant pumpkin paddling sounds like the perfect sport to try on Lake Erie this fall. However, you might want to check first to see if perch, walleye, or the Lake Erie monster like to eat giant pumpkins.
Oh,
Whoa, yeah. Wow.
wow. Yeah, no kidding. The what giant pumpkin racing. These
Uh,
people these look like
yeah,
kind of people you would expect to jump in a giant pumpkin.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, what I find amazing though is the size, is how much they weigh. I
Oh, they're
mean,
Yeah.
huge.
I
They're
mean,
massive. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's amazing. It really
Yeah,
is.
I like that they get into costumes, and there's a variety of costumes here. This is the guy I like the best. I think that's a can of Schlitz in his hand there.
Probably. Yeah.
You really can't make it out. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be the record holder. He was taking a break on his way to 46 miles. Did you say 40?
46 miles, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Yeah.
I can't imagine doing that in a kayak or a rowboat or a canoe, and he does it in a giant pumpkin. And apparently they don't spring leaks,
No, they're
which
very buoyant. Yeah, right.
I
Yeah.
suppose, yeah.
Oh.
But obviously you got to keep your balance, or else. So, again, John, I thought when I first heard this, I thought, this is unbelievable. I don't recall ever hearing about giant pumpkin races. And then I got to thinking, back when we were in college, I can seem to remember one of the other fraternities challenging us to a giant pumpkin regatta. Do you remember that, the competition?
Paul, I'll tell you what, I'm drawing a complete blank on that. You're
Well,
going to have to
I
help
understand that. I
bring
had
me
a
up to speed on that.
Yeah. Well, it was we were in the fraternity, and another fraternity challenged us to this giant pumpkin regatta kayak something or other. And our older brothers had no idea what they were talking about, but we don't back down from a challenge. So they asked John and I to do some research, and so regatta sounds French to me, so we didn't want to have anything to do with that. We had no idea what a regatta was. Uh, Kayaking, that was before I knew what a kayak was. We thought about rowboats, But the only thing we knew was what a giant pumpkin was. We knew we could find a giant pumpkin. So we counter challenge with the challenge to do the most unusual thing with a giant pumpkin. And the other fraternity said, sure, okay, we'll do that. So we thought we had it. We put our thinking hats on. Here's a picture of John with his thinking cap on, trying to come up with something to do with giant pumpkin. And he very clever there. We almost did that, use your giant pumpkins to make a hat. But as you notice, John was drinking a beer there, and that's really what we decided to do. What could we do with a giant pumpkin using beer? So I came up with this idea here, the giant beer cooler. So you fill the pumpkin up with ice after you clean it out, and then you drill holes in it, and you put looks like Bud Light there. But John, I can't believe you didn't remember this. You really outdid yourself on this one. You came up with a giant pumpkin beer cooler. Beer
wow.
Big. Look at that with a tap on it.
Sure.
I hope that wasn't pumpkin beer. I don't think we would have drank pumpkin beer.
No, but that beer looks very refreshing.
Look, it really does. Yeah. So unfortunately, so we won the competition, but unfortunately, the poor pumpkin that John used, I think the pumpkin had a little too much beer. Afterwards, it was the pumpkin after the whole thing was over. And of course, I think he had way too much because here's the pumpkin that night.
Oh, he got sick.
That's gross.
Oh, the poor pumpkin.
Lost his guts, so to speak. Looks like he was mixing beer and some other alcohol, which you should never do. So I don't even want to look at that anymore. Let's get that out of here. All right. Giant pumpkin kayaking, the pumpkin regatta, whatever it is. Great sport, John. Thanks so much for.
Thanks, Paul and Karen and audience. Thank you very much.
All right. So sports is done. That means it's time for everybody's favorite game, Bluff the co-host. Oh, this is the sport that's traveling around the world, around the universe. Everybody's playing it. The Martians are playing it. Everybody's playing the game. Easy to play. I've got 3 stories similar to the ones we've been talking about all afternoon. One big difference. Those stories were real. These stories may be real. They may be a bluff. It's up to Karen, John, and all of you playing at home to decide real or bluff. Wagering is allowed, so place your bets. John and Karen, hand on the buzzer. Let's get right to story number 1. There have been many stories about dogs shooting their owners, but 2 hunters in Nebraska claimed their dogs accidentally shot at each other. Both hunters had left their dogs and their shotguns in their pickup trucks while they went to use the bathroom. While in the woods, they heard multiple shots too close for comfort. Running out of the porta potties, they found their dogs jumping up and down in the trucks and multiple shotgun blasts in the sides of their trucks. Luckily, neither of the dogs nor anyone else was hurt. However, both hunters were cited for leaving loaded shotguns in a vehicle, and they should have been cited for allowing dogs who don't like each other access to guns. Okay, so 2 hunters in Nebraska whose dogs shot each other with the shotguns that they left in their trucks. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
As weird as it sounds possible. So I'm going to say it's a real story.
Okay, Karen says it's real. John, how about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on this one. My first blush was, yeah, maybe that is real, but I just kind of find it difficult for these dogs to take their paws and be able to then put them along the trigger and then shoot at each other. So I'm going to go on the idea that was a bluff and it's not a true story.
Okay, even though they were hunting dogs,
Even though they're hunting dogs, it doesn't mean you know how to handle a weapon.
They watched the hunters enough times,
Well, I guess that's possible, but I'm gonna say it's a bluff.
Okay, you're
They
sticking
weren't
with bluff.
aiming. They were just jumping around and the guns are going off.
Well, that's true, Karen, I guess. Well, we'll see. We'll have to find out what the answer is.
Okay, all right. So Karen says it's a real story based on what she knows about dogs, while John says it's a bluff. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say congratulations go to John. That is a bluff. I look
Okay.
everywhere. There's
Okay.
plenty of stories of one dog shooting at in fact, shooting and sometimes killing their hunters, but no two dogs shooting at each other. So
Okay.
that was
Okay.
all right. So John's ahead, 1-0. Let's get right to story number two. Michelangelo said he carved his famous statue of David by looking at a block of marble and carving away anything that didn't look like David. A man in Oregon said the same thing while looking at the trunk of a redwood tree, and he used a chainsaw to saw away anything that looked like David, thus creating the first life-size chainsaw copy of the famous statue. The chainsaw carver specializes in Michelangelo carvings, having previously made carvings of St. Peter, Moses, and Apollo. But he admitted he avoided doing David for a long time because he wasn't sure he could chainsaw an exact copy of David's most famous asset. Of course, he did, and now he's trying to convince the gallery of the Academy of Florence to allow him to place his wood carving of David right next to the real statue of David. Okay, so a chainsaw wood carver in Oregon, creates a life-size copy of Michelangelo's statue of David. Real or bluff? John, we'll start with you.
This is a very interesting story, and I'm hoping that I get it right. But I'm going to say it's true. I'm going to say that I could see a woodcarver doing that. It would take some skill, though, obviously, to be able to reproduce the statue. But I'm going to say it's real.
Okay, John says it's real. Karen, how about you?
So he only used a chainsaw, right?
All he uses is a chainsaw, right?
I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Oh. What if it was a dog with a shotgun shooting at?
Yeah, I would say it's a true story.
Okay, so Karen says Chainsaw David is a bluff. John says Chainsaw David is real. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say congratulations go to Karen. That is a bluff. No such thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I've seen good chainsaw carvers, but there's no David yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that means Karen has come back. The score's 1-1. Points are double in round number 3. So let's see what happens with the third story. According to researchers at Google, the most commonly misspelled words in America today are favorite, through, and niece. Even more interesting, each state was reviewed by Google for the most misspelled words, and there were some surprises. For example, in Florida, the most misspelled word is iguana. In Louisiana, it's ratatouille. In Texas, it's California. And in California, it's tsunami. For locals, the most misspelled word in Ohio is wolverine, although the researchers thought that might be intentional. And the most misspelled word in Michigan is Cincinnati. Most other states misspelled niece or one of the other words, although people in Oklahoma have a harder time with nephew. Finally, the researchers noted that they didn't trust the results from West Virginia, since the most misspelled word in West Virginia was Google. Okay, so Google researchers determined the most misspelled word in every single state, including Ohio and Michigan, where the misspelled words were, what did I say they were? Wolverine
Wolverine.
and Cincinnati. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
Well, I know people get Cincinnati wrong. Poor Wolverine. I don't know. I'm going to say it's a real story.
Okay. Oh, Karen says it's a real story. All right, John, how about you?
Yeah, with some of those words that you had, Paul, I could see people misspelling them. So I'm going to say it's real also.
Okay. All right. So you both say that's a real story. Let's check with the judges, and the judges are conferring over this one because it's partially real. Google actually
Oh,
Google actually did do a survey, and niece through and favorite are the most misspelled words using Google. All the other ones were made up.
Oh,
All
okay.
the other words were made up. So I'll give you each one of you a half a point, which means both of you got 2.5. That means you're both tied. And
Okay, we
everybody
had a
goes
tie
home
today,
happy.
Karen.
Yeah,
All
how
right,
about
that's
that?
okay. All right, we tallied there, so
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So great. I hope everybody else did just as well on Bluff the Co-host this week. And I think we have reached the end of What in the World. I want to thank Karen Hale, our producer, co-host, media mogul at newclevelandradio.net. Thanks, Karen, for everything you do for us and for all the great podcasts at newclevelandradio.net. Please check out, listeners, check out the website for more information on those podcasts, for more information on Yes I Can Coaching with Karen, for a link to Cleveland 13 News, our partner on for What in the World. You'll find links to YouTube. Please visit us there on YouTube. Take a look at all the fun stories, the fun photos that go along with the stories, including not Bluff the co-host, but including John's sports stories.
Right.
So those are always fun to see. And speaking of John, I want to thank my buddy John Denalo for all the great stuff you do for our show, for our sport, for your trivia, and for putting up with me every week, John.
It's my pleasure, Paul and Karen, audience. It's a lot of fun every week. It's a great hour.
Yeah. So we've got the Guardians, as John mentioned this week. So we'll all be following the Guardian. And I want to remind everybody, first, I want to thank all of you out there for listening. You're the reason why we do this show every week. We hope you have as much fun listening and watching as we do producing it and researching and all the stuff we do for it every week. I want to remind everybody that we do have the big Mahoning Valley Grassmen game coming up on June 11th. So we'll be talking about that again. Watch my Facebook page and Karen's Facebook page. We'll be posting more information about it. We'll probably be posting some more information about the big Northeast Ohio Bigfoot hunt. If we find some more places that we think we might find Bigfoot, we'll go back out and take a look for those as well. Now that we've got T-shirts and
Bigfoot t-shirts.
yeah.
That's right.
We've got official uniforms to wear. So stay tuned for that. And on that note, again, thanks to everybody. Karen, anything else? Or are we wrapping it up?
We're wrapping it up, and we'll see everybody next week.
We'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody. Have a good week.